Tanner Hall is really, really good. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. A little bit late on this Friday, but better late than never. We'll talk Sunbelt baseball. Of course, softball is getting underway today in the regionals. You got the Ragin Cajuns and Texas State. Won't be at today's regional in Baton Rouge because it's at they play at 2 o'clock, and my show is 3 to 6. Of course, if you are here locally, you can listen to the Ragin Cajuns on 103.3 The GOAT, the greatest of all time. So we will be doing a post-game show, as it turns out, which is fine. But last night kicked off the regular season finale of series. Let's try that again. Last night, the regular season finale. No, I'm not getting it right. All right. It's the last series of the regular season. There we go. All right, that's better. Kicked off last night. And, thank you, Captain Obvious, but Tanner Hall's really good. The Cajuns never really got close to doing anything against him. And you could go the whole I told you so route, but the problem with that is it doesn't change the fact that the Sunbelt Conference tournament starts early next week. So we'll go over what happened on Thursday. We'll look at the standings and see where we are right now. But Tanner Hall, 8 innings, scattered 3 hits, 1 walk. Cajuns didn't have more than 1 guy on base until the 8th inning. And Tanner was able to work out of a little trouble there. It should be mentioned, and so would I say that I told you so deal. We suggested with Kevin Foote of the Acadiana Advocate that maybe you switch up Jackson Nezuh, kind of like what some of these opponents are doing to LSU against Paul Skeens. Why sacrifice our best pitcher against Paul Skeens? We'll let Paul Skeens pitch against our number 2 pitcher, or maybe even number 3 pitcher, and we'll pitch our number 2 pitcher against their number 2, and maybe we'll have a better shot. And as we saw, Mississippi State and Auburn, it worked out that way for them. And so Jackson Nezuh pitched really well. The line doesn't indicate how well he pitched because he made 1 mistake. 6 1/3 innings, scattered 6 hits, 4 runs, all earned, but they all came, as it turns out, on 1 pitch. In the 5th inning, Etzel with a grand slam. Base was loaded, 1 out. I will say he did get the next 2 guys after that. But for all intents and purposes, that was the end of the ball game. And that is the difference in the game, is that Tanner Hall is really good, but now you've used Jackson Nezuh, and you just need 1 win if you are the Ragin Cajuns. You really just need 1 win to secure a top 6 seed. Cash pitched well in an inning, gave up 2 base hits, but struck out 2. And Couch pitched the last 2/3 of an inning of the 8th inning. Storm came in and pitched a 1-2-3 9th for Southern Miss. So Southern Miss with a win, they take a half a game lead over Coastal in the Sunbelt Conference for the regular season championship and the number 1 seed. Coastal got rained out, so they got postponed. They will make that game up. So again, you could go the whole I told you so. Like if you move Nezuh to tonight, and maybe he's got a better pitching matchup, but how does that affect him coming back, on Wednesday, right? And God forbid that the Cajuns don't, win a ball game, and bad things happen around them that they fall to 7th, then they're pitching on Tuesday. So. And then you're definitely pitching Jackson Nezuh on that day because you got to win that ball game just to make it to Wednesday. You're going to be behind the 8 ball to begin with. So, I can't really get all that huffy-puffy about Matt Deggs, doing what he did, right? I understand why this would be the case. If maybe everything was pushed back another day or something along those lines, and you're going from Friday to Thursday, which would be 1 day rest less. Okay, but Friday to Wednesday is going to cut it, right? So that admittedly is just not going to cut it. So you're going to have to, grin and bear it and take one for the team. And we'll see if I'm presuming Fluno is going to pitch for the Cajuns tonight. And again, they just need one win. We'll get to the standings a little bit later. Other ball games last night in the Sun Belt Conference. We told you that Coastal was postponed with Marshall. We did have an elimination game, if you will, and maybe they just run out of gas. South Alabama loses to Arkansas State 7-2. Not great starting pitching for South Alabama again. Arkansas State wins just their 7th ball game in the Sun Belt this year. It's been a slog for them. South Alabama had 10 straight wins overall. They've lost 8 straight overall, 7 in the Sun Belt. And what looked like a promising finish, the bottom has fallen out for the Jaguars. So hopefully, as Craig Stevenson and AL.com says, it was supposed to be a rebuilding year to begin with. Hopefully they can keep that on track for next season as Mark Calvi is a really good baseball coach. But this year, obviously, did not go as planned. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll come back with the rest of the Sun Belt action from Thursday, go over the standings. We'll look to the Sun Belt regionals, or not the NCAA regionals with the Sun Belt teams in them as well. We talked a lot about the Cajuns so far. We really haven't talked anything about Texas State, who deserves a little love as well. But first, let's talk to you a little bit about Birddogs. There we are. See if we can find them. We've had these couple pairs of shorts now for a couple of days, and I'll tell you, they are incredibly uncomfortable. They look great. The fabric makes my legs look great, and they're comfier than my other shorts and pants. They give me the freedom to wear one pair of shorts or pants on the golf course, to a meeting, hanging out with friends, or God forbid, even on a date. So go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege, and when you enter the promo code LockedOnCollege, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti style or tumbler with every order. Go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege, and when you enter promo code LockedOnCollege, they'll throw in a free custom Birddogs Yeti style tumbler with every order. And it looks just like that. Yay. Got the green tea in it, diet green tea in there already. Very handy and convenient. Birddogs.com/lockedoncollege. All right, Dave Schultz with more Locked on Sunbelt. Let's take a look at what happened last night. We told you the Southern Miss blanks the Cajuns 4-0. Coastal was rained out, postponed with Marshall. Georgia State stays hot. They beat Old Dominion in 10, 5-4. Georgia State scores 2 in the 9th and 1 in the 10th. And they take down Old Dominion 5-4. That's a nice comeback, or as I would like to say, come from ahead victory, although they were trailing most of the game. They actually got out to a 2-0 lead, but fell behind 4-2 at the end of 3, and no one scored until Georgia State scores 2 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th. So keep that in mind. The Panthers get a win over, over Old Dominion. Remember, Old Dominion, Georgia State, and Georgia Southern were all tied for 8th. All right. Texas State escapes ULM with a 6-5 win. A home run in the 7th inning for the Bobcats proves to be the difference. And so that's a nice win for Texas State after they got swept by the Ragin Cajuns last weekend at the Teague. You do have Troy slipping past App State 3-2. And we seem to be missing. It's not listed here for some reason. The Georgia Southern ball game, unless they're playing now. Don't seem to have the Georgia Southern James Madison game, but it's not listed for some reason. But I think Georgia Southern, Georgia Southern won the ball game. Now I got to do a quick search here, Georgia Southern baseball, because I thought James Madison had lost. I could be wrong. Maybe that got rained out too. But I'm looking at the Sunbelt stand. I'm looking at the Sunbelt website, and it was not on there. So now I'm going to the Georgia Southern. Let me see. Does not show it. Maybe maybe they got rained out last night too. All right. I thought James Madison had a loss in there, but I guess that was just based on last week's loss. So they're playing a doubleheader today, 3 p.m. and then 45 minutes afterwards. So Georgia Southern and James Madison playing a doubleheader. Those are tough to sweep. Those are tough to sweep. All right, so we didn't see that. That's not listed on the Sunbelt website. All right, so checking out the standings as of right now. All right. I hit the wrong button. All right, there you go. So Southern Miss leads Coastal Carolina by a half a ball game. Coastal is making that up today. Troy now is back into a third-place tie with the Cajuns. Remember, Troy wins the tiebreaker, if that really matters. All that matters is that you're playing a 9 a.m. game. Maybe it may be better to be in the 4 or 5 ball game. So Louisiana is now tied with Troy, both 17 and 11. Texas State, 1 game back. They are in 5th. James Madison will play the doubleheader against Georgia Southern today. They're in 6th. App State is in 7th, and that matters because you got to play on Tuesday. App State is in 7th. Georgia State is still tied for 8th with Georgia Southern, and then Old Dominion is 10th. But those are the 10 teams in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. Southern Miss, Coastal, Troy, Louisiana, Texas State, James Madison, App State, Georgia Southern, Old Dominion. South Alabama was eliminated yesterday. Arkansas State, Marshall, and ULM will not be making it into the Sun Belt Conference tournament either. All right. But again, the Cajuns, again, making my head hurt, your head hurt, and for Troy, for that fact of matter, although they're playing App State. The Cajuns need to win that 1 ball game just to avoid 18 and 12 should be enough to finish in the top 6. Now we'll see what happens with, James Madison and Georgia Southern, right? If they split, then James Madison is 15 and 12 and Georgia Southern is 16 and 15 and 14. The Cajuns would finish ahead of them, it would appear, regardless. So, but if the Cajuns can get 1, that'll be a big deal. And we'll see what happens with the regular season champ, if that matters either. Again, I'm not really sure it matters. If you're the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed, obviously you want to hang up a regular season championship. I'm sure coach gets a little bit of bonus if that's the case. Southern Miss wants to send Scott Berry out as a winner as well. He announced his retirement. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not sure there is, in terms of what are we looking at? Troy, Louisiana, Texas State, James Madison. Those are the top 6. Maybe you don't want to be playing Georgia State because all of a sudden they're on fire. I don't know, right? Georgia Southern, they're pretty good. So who knows? I don't think there's a big difference. You just want to avoid playing on Tuesday. That's all you want to avoid. That's basically about it. Okay, let's take one more time out. We'll come back. Ragin Cajuns and Texas State playing in the NCAA regionals today. And we'll talk about that when we come back. Want to thank you again for continuing to subscribe to Locked On Sunbelt. I think we got like 230 subscribers all of a sudden. I don't know if we can get to 250 by the end of the month. That's a lot. Again, the goal was 1,000 by football season. That may be asking too much, but there's no reason why we can't double it by then, right? We'll get back into football once baseball and softball come to a conclusion. I know it is the offseason, but it doesn't seem to be the offseason. Andre Sam, former Marshall safety, just committed to LSU. He's from Iowa, right down I-10 from Lafayette. It's spelled Iowa, but it is pronounced Iowa. I didn't decide that. But nonetheless, it seems to keep on going, right? You can't go into the portal, but you can come out. So there'll be news throughout the summer, and we will have it for you right here on Locked On Sunbelt. Don't forget, again, if you see it on YouTube, you can share it, you can like it. If you get it audio-wise, like those ratings in Apple Podcasts. It helps out a big way. It gets into those algorithms, and more people see it. So please rate and review. 5 stars only, hopefully. But if you do see it, or you can, again, any audio podcast, you can find it as well. Just search Locked On Sunbelt. It is a big help, and it is at your fingertips on your phone. All right, let's finish up, as it turns out. Let me see where something I really hadn't done. Bobcats softball, because we know the Cajuns are playing in the Baton Rouge regional. We'll get to them here in a second. Oh, so they're in Texas State is in the, oh goodness, they're in the College Station regional. Okay. All right, so we'll get to them in a second. Let me see if I can put that up here. NCAA softball bracket. All right, that may be easier to see. And, when you have Jessica Mullins pitching, we'll put that up. We'll put her up against anybody. That could be really interesting on how that goes. Let me see if I'm looking for the logo and can't seem to find it. Where did it go? Stillwater, Tuscaloosa, Seattle, Baton Rouge, Evanston, Austin. I'm sorry, not A. They're playing A&M. It's in the Austin regional. All right, so Texas State is actually taking on A&M. That's a great matchup. Texas taking on Seton Hall. So we'll see if Jessica Mullins, all right, she's really good, confident, cocky. We'll see if she can take care of some of those A&M bats, right? Those are always A&M, SEC is always going to be more cocky and confident against a Sunbelt team. Sunbelt team's going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. Always going to be the case. A&M thinks, they don't belong. Texas State is going to want to prove that they do. A lot like what is happening in Baton Rouge, right? The Cajuns not happy at all that they didn't host, but maybe they have a easier path to get to the College World Series. I actually saw some people predicting that they will get to the College World Series. So that means you got to get past the Baton Rouge regional, and you got to beat whoever comes out of the Seattle/Washington regional, whether that's Washington or not. The thing that the Cajuns can't do, they just can't do, they can't overlook Cameron Meyer. Cameron Meyer, really good pitcher in the circle for the Omaha Mavericks. 177 and 2/3 innings pitched, 266 strikeouts. That's a lot. Opponents are only batting 160 against her. She's only given up 6 home runs. That's not an issue. She's got a whip of less than 1, which is outrageous for a starting pitcher. ERA is less than 1.5. It's gonna be tough. The Cajuns are gonna, if they have a chance to play small ball, they're gonna, right? If they get a leadoff runner on, they'll try to steal, they'll try to bunt, and they'll try to get the run home. All right, that's basically it. Jerry Glasgow has, he's very well aware that this game is probably going to be, I think he even mentioned we're looking for a shutout. 1-0, 2-0. Cameron Meyer is outstanding in the circle for Omaha, but Omaha's offense does struggle a little bit. If the Cajuns pitching gives up like 3 runs, it could be an issue. All right, so this is going to be 1-0 ball game, 2-1 ball game, maybe 3-2 ball game. I would not count on it. This has got 1-0, 2-1 written all over it. It is at 2 p.m. Central, and you can listen to the Ragin Cajuns take on Omaha on my local radio station here in Lafayette, 103.3 The GOAT. We will be in Baton Rouge over the weekend, and we're all hoping LSU is taking on Prairie View A&M after the Cajuns ball game, and obviously Cajuns fans and Tigers fans are hoping a Ragin Cajuns Tigers matchup, I believe at noon on Saturday. So we're looking forward to that potential matchup. And again, that sets up the whole thing. The winner of that game gets to go straight to Sunday. The loser's got to come back and wait around all day and play later on Saturday. And then if they win that ball game, they got to win 2 on Sunday. So you could be playing 3 games or you could be playing 5 games. There's a huge difference. And just a huge difference. And even if you get to that 5th game, you're playing your 5th game, someone's playing 4th game. The Cajuns actually have pitching for that, right? They have 4 pitchers. They have the depth. I'm not sure LSU has that. It is a huge advantage. Obviously, the Cajuns do not want to do that. The Cajuns, nobody wants to do that, right? Not just the Cajuns. If they get to go against LSU on Saturday, that is a huge ball game, setting the tone for the weekend. All right, we will be there. We'll be there on Saturday and certainly on Sunday if it comes to that. Yeah, we hope to be there on Sunday as well. All right, have a great weekend. We'll have more episodes throughout the weekend updating what is happening in the softball and the baseball, for that fact of the matter. All right, so stay tuned in. Same Sunbelt time, same Sunbelt station. You've been watching and listening to Locked On Sunbelt. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. It's been your team every day. Have a great weekend, everybody.